I genuinely can't believe that it's been 2 weeks since I bought these things and I've actually used them a lot more than I expected. In today's video, we're going to go through a week in my life with these Google Glasses. I'm going to tell you a little bit about the applications that I used, what it can do, and some of its limitations, and maybe even the future and where it's going to be going. This is going to be a pretty long video and it's going to be me talking to the camera like this, so feel free to navigate off to another tab and just listen. This is much more of a podcast style video than my normal showing off products. Anyway guys, without further ado, let's get right on with today's video. Hello everybody, my name is Robert and this is Review Clue. So yes, I've had these things for about 2 weeks now, and let's start off with my first ever Sunday with these glasses. The first thing I had to do was actually update them. Out of the box, when I received these from eBay, they came with XE17, which is a very old operating system for these glasses. Unfortunately, all of the back-end servers that Google have for these things have been shut off. So anything below XE24 simply won't work because you can't log into the device or assign a Google account to it. So the XE24 update is a required update. And I'm going to be honest with you, if you don't know what you're doing and you're not tech savvy, particularly in the Android style ecosystem, you're going to have trouble setting these things up. It's not an easy process. So I actually had to download all of the Android dev environments and had to change some drivers. There were official drivers that needed some tweaking, and it wasn't the easiest process in the world. But we did get there, and I got it all installed, turned it on, and waited a little while for it all to boot up. I then went ahead and went into the settings and connected to my Wi-Fi network. This was fairly easy to do, mainly because it supports Bluetooth keyboards and other Bluetooth accessories, so I could kind of just connect the keyboard and type in my password. But then there was that first real oddity that I saw, and that was that the time that I was showing up here was GMT rather than BST, Greenwich Mean Time rather than British Summer Time. And for whatever reason, it would not let me change it. I would go into the settings menu and I would set the exact time that I wanted for the time zone, so BST. I'd accept it, I'd come back out, and it would reset itself to GMT. It was really, really strange. I don't understand why it wouldn't let me do it. So whenever I look up into my top right corner to see the time now, I just have to remember to add an extra hour. So a little bit odd, but I'm sure when the winter comes around it'll be much easier because the time will actually be correct, in theory. Anyway, so we've got our times. What else can this thing do out of the box? Well, this is one of the first problems. Not much. These are basically a glorified Snapchat spectacles. They can take photos, they can take video, and that's it. You can pull all of this media off by connecting up to a computer and just dragging and dropping. And I'll show you some of that video and photos on the screen now. Don't get me wrong, for 8 years ago, this looks pretty good, but I'm really underwhelmed with the actual performance of this device. I was expecting to at least see a little bit more than this, but apparently everything else that it did, including all the navigation demos, of course rely on the Google backend, which has been shut down. So if you were to buy these things and not install any third-party apps, you've got a pair of glasses with a camera on. That's about it. I spent the rest of my day basically just looking around for other apps that I could potentially install on these glasses. There were about 6 that I found, and I'll leave a link to the description to them all in this Google document. Basically, this will show you all of the apps that are known to work with the XE24, which is the latest update for these glasses. There's not a lot here, I'm going to be honest with you, but if you want to install them, you can go ahead and do so. I'll talk about some of them as we go along here today. So roll on Monday, I'm ready to do some food shopping. So I thought this was the perfect opportunity to take these glasses out into the wild and try out one of my first downloaded applications. Actually installing applications is very, very simple. It's a one-line command in the command line with these connected up to your computer, and I'll leave a link in the description as well to how to do that. Anyway, once you've done that, basically you can just tap and swipe to the app that you want to use. In this case, I wanted to try out the speedometer app, and it does exactly what it says on the tin. It's incredibly gimmicky. It just shows your speed in either miles per hour or kilometers per hour in your peripheral vision. That's it. It will update fairly slowly, I found. I was kind of 3 seconds behind, so I'd speed up to 7, 8 miles an hour as a run, and then 3 seconds later it would tell me, hey, you're at 7 or 8 miles an hour. So, not reliable, really gimmicky, but kind of cool. It uses the inbuilt GPS to actually work all of this out, so it is a fun little app and shows off some of the capabilities of these glasses. For 8 years ago, it's still pretty impressive for this to have GPS and God knows what else in it. While I was actually at the supermarket walking around, one thing really struck me, and that was people didn't really notice or care. I'm very much used to expecting people to kind of stop me and ask me, what are you wearing? What do they do? Why is there a camera on them? There's a really great video by Casey Neistat where he's basically just walking around with this thing on his face and everyone stops him and asks him questions about it. But now, today, that's not the case. People didn't bat an eyelid. They didn't care. And to me, what that says is the world is now more ready than ever for these kinds of devices. We're very much used to having a camera everywhere we go and having this kind of technology in our lives. So if Google had pursued this a little bit more, I think now would have been a perfect time to release a second version, maybe a more refined version. And I think the public would accept it a lot more than they did back then. Times have changed quite drastically. So anyway, I get back from the supermarket, I've got these things on, and I start taking some phone calls, just with friends and family and you know the kind of thing. And that was one of the big surprises to me. This actually works as a Bluetooth headset, so as long as it's connected to your phone via Bluetooth, that could be an iOS phone or an Android phone, it will actually ping whenever you get a phone call. It will show who's calling you, a caller ID, and you can tap and accept or decline the call. And actually having the call on the glasses is pretty cool. See what I did there? Anyway, it is pretty good. We've got the bone conduction speaker and an inbuilt microphone. It sounds pretty good and was actually a pretty pleasant experience and is something that I could see myself using a lot more. But because I've been out all day using the speedometer to get to and from the food shopping and walking around using the camera to snap certain photos, I did notice one of the big issues, and that is battery life. I'd used it for maybe an hour and a half in this application, and I had about 20% battery left. Battery life is truly abysmal on these, and yes, I could probably chalk it down to it being an 8-year-old battery, but still, apparently even for its time, 8 years ago, the battery just did not last, and it was one of the biggest issues. Of course, it was the only way they could get it into this sort of form factor, but it's a real shame that they didn't try and get a little bit more battery into that and maybe even optimize the operating system a little bit better. Tuesday and Wednesday rolled around and I'm going to be honest, it was pretty quiet. I was doing a lot of work from home, but it did give me a chance to try out some of the multimedia capabilities of these glasses. I downloaded an app that can do my music and it can do my videos. Now, they were pretty cool. It was drag and drop again, just connecting up to my computer, dragging the files that I wanted. And it was nice to be able to look up into my top right corner to see the artist, the song, the album, or maybe even that snippet of video that I was watching. Again, pretty gimmicky, and I didn't really see a use for it. My biggest issue with multimedia was the speaker that was built in. This bone conduction speaker does not produce great quality audio. They never have. So if you were to use this for a multimedia device, I would suggest connecting up some Bluetooth headphones or using that single or double bud that I showed off in the unboxing video, which will be up there or in the description down below. Having those buds and those earbuds really does make the experience much, much better. But I do beg the question why you would want a multimedia device that does music and stuff on your face like this. It of course doesn't support Spotify or any of the other streaming services. You have to actually own the music as well, which I found pretty difficult. I don't own a ton of music myself. I've always used streaming services, so finding stuff to actually put on these glasses was a pain. And again, that battery life reared its ugly head with about an hour of listening time. So Thursday and Friday rolled around and I got an Android phone. This was a big thing for these glasses, mainly because this glass is built off of Android, as is the Android phone, strangely. I've been connecting these up to an iPhone before now, and I found its capabilities pretty limited. There was no notifications being pinged, I could make the phone calls, but that was about it. But that all changed when I got an Android phone, and I downloaded the Glass Echo app. Basically, this app just echoes all of your notifications from your phone to your glasses. Setup is incredibly simple. You scan the QR code on the phone with the glasses and they're synced up. Any notification you get on your phone will automatically be pinged up to your glasses via the Bluetooth connection. Incredibly cool stuff, and actually I was pretty impressed with how quick and seamless the setup and actual use was. There is no way to reply to these notifications, you can just see them in the top of your vision, but I didn't mind that too much. It was better than taking my phone out of my pocket or even checking my watch. I could sort of just glance up without looking away at what I was already doing, be that work or whatever. But this, I think, is the biggest problem with these glasses and why they never really took off. Let's be honest, everything that I've spoken about with these glasses that I've done with them can be done with another device, be that a phone, a laptop, even my smartwatch. These were a first generation wearable, and don't get me wrong, for its time they were awesome. But with the times, they just haven't moved forwards. And everything that I can do with these glasses, I can do with something else that I have in my life. So Friday rolled around, and what do I actually recommend these things? Not really. The only reason I would suggest you buy some of these is to sit on a shelf somewhere as a collector's piece. This is a piece of technological history, and it is a great piece to own. One of the first augmented reality heads-up display glasses, and they actually look the most stylish to me as well. So having that in my collection is just something that I've always wanted. I bought these knowing that I probably wouldn't use them and they would just be a part of a collection. But I'm still happy that I have them because they are just that cool piece. Of course, this being Android based as well, we can develop our own apps for it through the Google Glass Developer Kit or the JDK. I've found it really hard to find the JDK for actual development. I would love to find it to do a little bit of work to see what I can achieve. Now, the JDK used to be able to be installed through the Android Studio application, but of course it's disappeared. As with any older version of Android Studio, it just doesn't show up anymore. So if anyone does have a link or knows anyone with a link to the JDK, then please do let me know in the comment section down below. I would be eternally grateful to actually find the kit for this and to give it a development and give it a go, because I think this has a lot of potential. It just needs to be realised. So there we have it, guys. That has been my week with Google Glass. It's been a wonderful week and I've discovered a lot of fun little apps and things that you can do with these glasses. But at the end of the day, I do think these are just going to go back on my shelf. I don't see a use for them in my everyday life. They're too clunky, the battery life is not good enough, and the apps that are there are just too lackluster. So these will be going back on my shelf, and it is a shame, but they are a great piece of technological history. Anyway guys, let me know in the comment section down below, what did you think of these glasses? Do you like them? Do you not? And of course, I will catch you in the next one. Adios.